Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 26th of July. Juggernaut continues as we make new highs. We talked about it here with the MBI reading where we had the meeting between the MBI white and magenta, but magenta popping above, meaning buyers were sucking up the action, and we saw it also with the short-term buyers having lead the way, and that's brought in midterm, long-term buyers as well, and why we're up new highs. Still floating back and forth. We can see a rising white MBI, and that's no threat at this particular stage, but worth noting it. We're going to see any changes intraday. It doesn't mean the range within the intraday still isn't going to be good. Expectation for those to be outside of normal ranges is still there, so nothing's changed as far as that expectation. NASDAQ likewise. And interestingly enough, we had that exact same MBI setup at the base right here, even with the NASDAQ, and the turnaround being immediately, even though we were noticing shorts fading out of the setup with the DOC cyan as it's continued to drop and even below red, and that's why you see that cyan candle, because cyan under red, always buy. From a gold standpoint, still isn't going to do anything yet until there's some clarity as to how much spending and whether inflation is really going to start to ramp up, or if that new influx of labor is going to have a slowing effect. The European Union still is talking about potentially more restrictive behavior. Be surprised if the euro is able to stay inside this range, only if the U.S. Continues to push it upward, because they're going to be forced into larger stimulus given the policies that they're choosing. Of course, Bitcoin, everyone talking about the big pump, but again, we're looking at these same, and actually if I put up the daily, you can see the same thing. But the turnaround move and crossover magenta over, that happened a couple days back. And once you got above that 34, boom, hit 39, so retraced a little bit from the 39. Big gap breach above there, but there's also a series of other positive extremes that took place back over here in February or so that would fill in around in the mid 40 range. Just an FYI. So it was a big catapult. No shock with it though. I mean, even from back here in the fade, you had the MBI above, and pretty much magenta above yellow. Dropped the entire run of that around the 32 range. But the original buy was all the way down at the bottom. Right there around 29.8. Always fun to look at that. And from a 5K standpoint, you can see we've had a little bit of sell-off. We had a lot of positive extremes. Going back in through here, which that's what's really filled, and then the furthest back a little bit lower, down at 73, but a nice incline move right after that dip down. Intraday was pretty boring actually. I mean, you can see how small that action was, and it was all still good range, I mean, but all one directional until the very end, and that was modest at best. So all in all, market's behaving pretty well. I know some people were talking, calamity, but again, broader volatility is not always a bad thing. It just means increased rotations, and I think that's relevant because it suggests that some market players are preparing for different things to be taking place in the future as opposed to status quo. And so that's pretty much it. As always, though, I will keep updating the Skype chat. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.